What's up, everybody? It is Wednesday from the loft. It is a push and a little bummed out on this video, not gonna lie. Energy may seem a little bit down, but I'll find it as we get going here. Just really bummed out about the news of how we're finishing out the school year. It is what it is. I mean, you can't really change it. Situation. I understand the reasons behind the situation, but doesn't mean I can't be bummed out a little bit. Miss seeing you guys, and it's going to be a school year without proper closure. But like I said, I hope I can get creative and figure out something to bring closure. Not total closure, but just something create. I don't know. But if you have any ideas there, hey, let me know. All right. But other than that, we're going to keep on keeping on, as they say. Okay. So yesterday I had you all submit the DBQ practice, the contextualization paragraph. I'm still going through those. I'm trying to write comments where comments are needed on that. So for some feedback, if you didn't get feedback, that means I pretty much think you were on the target there. But I'm going to talk about real quick, one of the issues that I have seen with the contextualization and the DBQ and all that stuff. So what we have here, I want to talk quickly about the first party system. It's probably a term I did not use in class that I probably should have used more in class. There's like different party systems where like either the beliefs of the political party switch or different issues came up and things like that. So this is the first party system. We'll talk about the party systems as we go through this review. We're just going to focus on the first party system right now. And so a lot of the weaknesses that I found with the contextualization and the thesis statements is sometimes like the question is based in the first party system. Okay. So it's 1790 to 1824. And sometimes your thesis statements just stayed in the 1790 to 1807 range and didn't go beyond that. It didn't encompass as much of the question, as much of the time period as the question wanted you to. Sometimes your contextualization sentences went too far back and didn't really set the stage for this with the political disagreements and things like that. Another weakness that I saw, not a weakness, let's call it you knew what you were talking about, but it was just like the terminology was a little bit off. And what that is like I saw a lot of people put federalist and anti-federalist, which if you were talking about the debate of the ratification of the Constitution, 1787, 1788, 1789, the Federalist Papers and things of that nature, you would be correct. It was Federalist versus anti-Federalist. But in this case, from 1790 to 1824, it wasn't so much Federalist versus anti-Federalist. It was Federalist versus Democratic Republicans or Jeffersonian Republicans. Okay, so the terminology changed. So just don't get that confused. All right, that's a common mistake that people have made every year. All right, and so maybe that's on me. Maybe I don't explain it well enough. But the Federalist versus anti-Federalist, that's the ratification of the Constitution. The Federalist versus the Democratic Republicans, that is more of the first party system. All right. So 1790 to 1824 is when this takes place. The parties, of course, the Federalists led by Alexander Hamilton up until his death in a duel with Aaron Burr. All right. If you want to listen to the Hamilton soundtrack for that, I would not hate it. Democratic Republicans led by Thomas Jefferson and others. All right. And their main issues of disagreement, which should have been somewhere included in your thesis statement as you were like setting up the broad issues that were debated during that time period. And a lot of you did. A lot of you did a good job with this. All right. Interpretation of the Constitution, the Federalists, strict construction. All right. So, or I'm sorry, let me rephrase that. Federalist, loose construction. If it's not mentioned, if things can be implied. Okay, I always say like it's like the first Pirates of the Caribbean movie where they talk about the Pirates Code, and they're really just suggestions. Really, the Federalists felt like they could play more loose with the Constitution. Democratic Republicans said if Democratic Republicans strict constructionists. If it's not written, you can't do it. Okay. And so you all know, like with Thomas Jefferson, when he becomes president, that's his belief going in. And then the Louisiana Purchase happens, and he kind of, for the good of the country, bends his ideals there on that strict constructionist point. All right, so their interpretation, close up, my bad. Interpretation of the Constitution is going to be big there. All right, federal versus state power. All right, so how much power does the national government have? How much power does the state government have? What powers do they have? How are they different? How should they work together? And you're seeing that debate even today with like the testing for this COVID-19, like who should be in charge of getting the tests out, who's in charge of it, getting PPE, ventilators. You're seeing the debate play out today. All right, so the more things change, the more the issues kind of stay the same. All right, so federal versus state power. Federalists obviously wanted that strong central government. The state Democratic Republicans wanted that state power. All right, wanted more power to be vested in the states. Local government, they thought, being the most efficient form of government. All right, foreign policy. This is going to change throughout the years, but the Federalists are generally going to be in favor of the British. All right. Um, Sympathetic towards the British, large, big. They're a big trading partner, especially for those New England states where the Federalists were centered. The Democratic Republicans are going to idealize the French. All right, they're going to idealize the French, especially during the 1790s where they start wearing the French fashion. So it's going to be major differences there. All right, in the foreign policy, and it's going to be the Democratic Republicans who kind of favor that war with Great Britain in the War of 1812. And the Federalists at the Hartford Convention are actually going to talk about possible secession because they're so against this war with Great Britain. All right, so and that's what ends up kind of destroying the power of the Federalists was that Hartford Convention. So foreign policy differences there, economic policy, just infrastructure. Who's in charge of infrastructure? All right, the Bank of the United States. Should there be one? How much power should it be given? So all these economic issues come into play early on in our history as well. All right, so these are the major issues of the first party system. These are things you should have included or thought about including in your thesis statement. I didn't have you write the essay, but looking at it, could you talk about these things? Because the question was very specific to the first party system. And like I said, should have mentioned that type of phrasing probably a little bit more like reminiscing on the school year, especially early in the year. But if you get the gist of these issues, you should be. This is something you should be comfortable talking about. If you have any questions on it, don't hesitate to ask me. All right, I'm here for you guys. So the other thing, period 5 study guide. This goes right along with those jocks videos, those review videos. All right, so you can watch that and type it in as you watch it. This is not going to be due until Monday. All right, it's 11 pages. A lot of it's like reading and things like that, but it's going to be due Monday. I'm going to talk through portions of it. I'm going to talk through the period 4 review, which is due later today. I'm going to talk through that in the video for Thursday. The period 4 review. We'll talk about the period 5 review on Monday. All right, when that is due. All right, so period 5 is going to take us from like the manifest destiny time period through the Civil War and through Reconstruction. All right, so may harken back to that clip from Free State of Jones we watched. All right, so I'll take you through that. We're going to start incorporating AP Classroom, some of the questions and stuff that are on there. We're going to start incorporating that next week as well with the reviews. All right, as we get closer to the AP test, we're going to start looking at that stuff more and more. So if you have any questions, I got a lot of messages today, like having me check their contextualization and thesis statements. I don't mind to do that. If you get feedback and you don't understand what I'm talking about, don't hesitate to ask. If there's something with the grade book, hit me up. All right, don't hesitate to contact me. I'm generally pretty good at answering any questions you have pretty quick. May set up appointments or whatever here in the coming weeks where if you got questions on something or if you want to go over something like that one-on-one type deal, like in class, if you have a question, you raise your hand, I come over and ask you. May have like a sign up sheet for that, like a Google Meet or something if you have questions or something, or we can do it in groups, whatever. I'm still working that idea out in my head, so we'll get going on that in the next week or so too. All right, so anyway, that's pretty much all I got. Kind of low key today, kind of bummed out, but we're going to get through this. and look forward to seeing you guys whenever that may be. And we'll keep on rocking to the A push test. We'll knock that out. We'll do great with that. And when we all come back together, it'll just be a glorious thing, right? So it makes you, we'll be more appreciative of those moments we have together in school. So, yeah, that's pretty much all I got. I don't know. I think I'm going to title this one now the one where I'm sad because I was low energy today. I'll bring it tomorrow. That much, I promise you. We weren't rocking it much on this Wednesday, but Thursday we will be. I don't. I don't know. Rocking it on Thursday. That's not creative. All right. So anyway, see you later. Stop sharing. Hide. Click. Nope. Now click.